In a report published by Thrillist, Tyson's hit power is calculated to be equivalent to being hit by a Vespa motorbike, with a speed of approximately 15 kilometers per hour. The fact that Tyson has become a phenomenon in the boxing world is not surprising. Keep watching this video to find out more on He Called Mike Tyson's Mom and this happened. Instant karma. Mike Tyson also has a knack for trash talking. Mike Tyson, the undisputed heavyweight champion, had a mouth like a flamethrower at the height of his powers. He kept a hostile and bitter demeanor towards his adversaries, mocking them for having what he called basic skills, and claiming that he wanted to grasp them exactly on the tip of his nose, because he wanted to push the bone into the brain. He had a wholly poisonous attitude due to the combination of his sarcastic tongue and his lethal stare. While talking about his rivals, he once said, "My power is discombobulatingly devastating. I could feel his muscle tissue collapse under my force. It's ludicrous these mortals even attempt to enter my realm." He claimed to be immortal and unbeatable in the boxing world, but was he really so? Mike Tyson was renowned for his excessive brutality and ravenous trash talking throughout his prime. He was so out of control that others frequently thought he was insane. He had no fear of anyone, and as a result of his insane behavior, he had the reputation of being the world's baddest guy. You'll be horrified to learn what he once said about Lennox Lewis, the heavyweight champion. During an interview, he was asked whether or not the fight with Lennox was the quickest of his career, to which he responded, "Lennox, I'm coming for you."
I don't know, man. Yeah, Lennox Lewis, Lennox, I'm coming for you.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Mike walked off after making these insane remarks, leaving everyone in complete disbelief. But when the eagerly awaited match between the two took place in 2002, Lennox eventually defeated the formerly unstoppable champ. Ouch.
Lennox Lewis cements his legacy as one of the best.
A run-in with Berbick. One of Mike Tyson's best performances in the boxing ring by a long shot was his 28th fight against the world heavyweight champion at the time, Trevor Berbick, in 1986. At just 20 years old, Mike eventually prevailed in that contest to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. By no means was Trevor Berbick a joke. He's primarily remembered for his fight with Mike Tyson, but he also faced Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, in his final encounter. More than 20 years after the fight, in 2010, Mike revealed what was going through his thoughts at the time of his battle with Berbick. He didn't show any mercy to Ali, who at the time had advanced Parkinson's disease, which suggests that he had it out for him. Mike acknowledged wanting to kill Berbick, but also wanted to hurt him. Mike was able to completely destroy him in their bout, even if he might not have been effective in achieving that. Mike Tyson won the title, and Berbick changed after that. His fighting prowess deteriorated. He began to experience several personal troubles and more. Unfortunately for him, his life never improved. He was engaged in a street fight with Larry Holmes while serving as a Pentecostal pastor in Vegas. He spent the first 15 months of a 5-year prison sentence after being found guilty of sexually assaulting the nanny of his children in 1992. After being deported from the US for the second time in 5 years, his problems had just begun. In the early 2000s, Berbick learned that he had a brain clot, which led him to renounce his boxing license. At any rate, it is what he said. It felt almost like something had been taken away from him. The man's life was so chaotic in comparison that Mike's struggles seemed quite uncomplicated. Berbick tragically lost control during his final 4 years of life and was discovered dead in a Jamaican church cemetery in 2006. He had received a steel pipe beating. The police who responded to the scene of the crime claimed that Berbick's murder was among the most violent ones they had ever witnessed, and that too in a lawless nation like Jamaica. The rivalry with Tyrell Biggs. Mike Tyson was known for having a terrifying aura that could cut to the core of his opponents. Because of his reputation for defeating fighters before they even entered the ring, his opponents feared him. His animosity and verbal sparring with Tyrell Biggs, though, were personal. He really loathed Biggs with all of his heart. Before their 1987 bout, he said, "I never really hated anybody. I think I hate Tyrell Biggs. I want to give him a lesson. I want to hurt him real bad." He was infamous for wanting to harm each and every one of his rivals, but Biggs was a different story. The rival was personal to him, thus he had been anticipating this fight for a very long time. After the intense fight, he had said that despite having the option to spare Biggs, he continued to torture him. He said post-fight, "In the third round, I knew I had him. He was in tears. When I was hitting him to the body, he was making noises like a woman screaming. I could have knocked him out at any time after the third, but I wanted to make him pay for what he said." Biggs responded to this, I didn't say anything that should have angered him. All I said was that I was confident I could beat him. But deep down, he knew what Tyson's hostility was all about. We'll tell you right now that their rivalry dates back to their amateur years. Biggs, a gigantic child who resembled a titan, competed in the 1984 Olympics and took home a gold medal. However, the issue was that Biggs dismissed Tyson by referring to him as our little friend. He said, "I'm not here to lay down. I'm not afraid of Mike Tyson because he's a man like myself. On top of that, he's 5'8" and 220 pounds, and I'm 6'5" and 225 pounds, and well, that caused a lot of damage." Now you understand? When Tyson was younger, Biggs made fun of him for his little stature and undeveloped talents. And when he didn't make the Olympics, Tyson wanted to teach him a lesson for the lack of respect he showed for him. When the pair were about to fight in the professionals, Mike Tyson said, "Like that stayed with me then. I trained so hard, I was motivated to kick his ass, and he was able to do it. But let us warn you, holding grudges doesn't always result in the desired vengeance. They can often backfire, as in the case of Lennox Lewis. Therefore, it's best to be careful with every move you make and words you speak." Evander Holyfield's most famous boxing moment. The fight between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield is undoubtedly the most famous fight in boxing history. The defining moment of the match was when Mike literally bit off a chunk of Holyfield's ear in their second fight.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there to lead to be a fight.
Holyfield won the heavyweight championship by defeating Mike, and he held it for 3 matches before losing it to Lennox Lewis. Holyfield's third marriage ended in divorce in 2010, after Candy, his wife, claimed that Holyfield had attacked her after she complained that the house they shared was too cold. Candy also asked for a protective order against Holyfield. Not only that, but Candy also alleged that her ex-husband hit her multiple times in front of the kids. In 2008, he choked me in front of our daughter and housekeeper. In 2009, he hit me in front of the children, and a couple weeks later, he threw a bottle of water at me. She submitted a written plea for protection. To this day, Holyfield is living in the past, often thinking that he still has a chance of becoming the heavyweight champion of the world at the age of over 60. The reason he retired so late in his life was probably due to the fact that he had several financial problems, which stemmed from him getting repeatedly sued by a bunch of different people. Holyfield has 11 kids in addition. Yes, you heard correctly, 11. His bank account has suffered as a result of having to pay them child support. The man earned at least $200 million from fighting alone, but he only has roughly $1 million remaining at the moment. Peter McNeely's 89 seconds. One of the fighters who Iron Mike completely destroyed was Peter McNeely. McNeely played only 89 seconds in their match. After being released from prison, he was the first person Mike Tyson faced. After that match, McNeely's boxing career took a serious hit. Before sinking to the lowest point, he appeared in a few Pizza Hut advertisements. I was living in a crack house in Brockton a year after I beat Tyson, and I spent $40,000 in 6 weeks, he said. In an interview with Boxing Monthly, McNeely disclosed. The former boxer was detained for a few insignificant offenses, including sucker punching a man and snatching his wallet, which had about $200. Another time he drove the getaway car in a small-time theft at a Walgreens store, when he and a friend made off with $180 and some snacks before being apprehended by the police. Thankfully, McNeely is currently doing well. You can purchase mementos of him through his website, which is still operational today, for a few dollars to several $1,000s. With that, we've come to the end of the video. These were all the instances when someone trash-talked Tyson and quickly got served by karma. It's true that Tyson has always had a complicated relationship with trash-talking, but that has not held him back in the realm of boxing, and he's still a name that is synonymous with the giants of the sports world.